going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. He's going to have a wonderful life, but don't chase money.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be
The Journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is
The Journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is
The Journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The Journey. The Journey. The Journey. The Journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a Memphis icon that has moved around a little bit, but also left town and came back. So he's in essence a Memphian by choice. But before we get to him, let us get to our quote. Our quote is, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And that comes from the great Martin Luther King, activist, civil rights leader, and the like. And what that means to me is, faith is that thing that, you literally just got to keep believing that things are going to shape in your direction and work out for you. And keeping that first step, even though you might not see the next step, is just part of it. And today, we got a brother who's taken many steps. We have Kevin Reed, straight out of Memphis. He Oakhaven, went to East High School, graduated from MIT, that's right, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, went on to Howard Law School. He's a visionary, an entrepreneur, author, attorney, son, brother, father, and a husband.
All of that.
All of that and a bag of chips.
Now,
What's up, Kevin?
I want to meet that guy. That guy sounds cool.
He is cool. Kevin Reed. All right now, Kevin. It's the fast-paced segment.
All right.
Take me back to the beginning, the early years that you remember in Oakhaven.
Oh, wow. Oakhaven was great.
Okay.
The neighborhood was just starting to integrate.
Okay.
So we still had a lot of white residents in there, but black families were moving in.
Okay.
We were a homeowner.
Okay.
My mother and father.
Who's in the house? Who's in the house with you?
My mom, my dad, and my sister.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was just coming out of the military.
Okay.
And at that time, I didn't realize how big a deal it was to be a homeowner in an up and coming middle class neighborhood. I just thought that's how everybody lived.
Right.
But I loved it.
Okay.
It was great.
Okay. Who outside your parents had the biggest influence on the young Kevin Reed?
Believe it or not, my friends.
Really?
Kids in the neighborhood. We all wanted to excel.
Okay.
And so we would compete against each other,
right? Trying
to be great.
Peer pressure. You had some good peer pressure.
Had some good peer pressure. Some good friends.
Okay.
That influenced me to always challenge myself.
Any of those guys you still connect with?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
Give me a shout out. Give me one of them.
I give you three.
Okay.
Cliff, Christopher, and Shane. Three of my best friends. We meet on Zoom every month.
Oh,
still
wow.
talk.
Wow.
Still push each other and, still try to achieve.
What are they doing now?
They killing it. Both Christopher and Cliff are executives at JP Morgan.
Okay.
And Shane is a professor at the University of Australia in Sydney.
Wow.
So yeah.
You round that surrounding the friends, man. That's a pretty powerful
made a big
group.
difference. Yeah, made a big difference, and it's a metaphor for life.
Right.
The folks that you are around are either going to push you or they're going to hold you back.
Right.
So you got to be cognizant of who you're spending your time with and what type of energy they're giving you. They're giving you positive energy and pushing you to be the best version of yourself. That's a good scenario.
You already preaching, brother. Okay, so what decision did you make as a young person that ended up having a lifelong impact, even though you didn't necessarily know it was going to have that kind of impact when you made that decision?
I guess the biggest thing, one of the big things was I went to a summer program called MS Squared.
Okay.
Math and Science for Minority Students.
Okay.
I went to public high school, but this
Right.
was school during the summertime.
Right.
And it just changed everything.
Really?
Yeah, it just changed everything because I got to be around really smart people.
Okay.
Way smarter than me.
Okay.
And it just opened my eyes to like another world outside of Memphis.
Right.
That's where I learned about, Andover and Exeter and all these,
Right.
boarding school,
yeah.
prep schools
Yeah.
and Ivy League schools. I
Right.
didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
Until I went away to this program.
Okay.
And
Where was the program?
it was actually at Andover in Andover, Massachusetts. It's still
Wow.
around today.
Wow.
Still around today.
Okay.
So it just set me up to go into the math and sciences.
Okay.
Yeah.
How different are you from the person you dreamed you would be as a young person?
I have not come close to being the person I dreamed I would be.
Really? What? Now tell us what that dream would be. What was that dream?
I thought I was gonna be. In the space program.
Really?
Or a pilot. Yeah, that's what I was headed towards, and didn't work out.
Okay.
Didn't work out at all.
Okay.
I decided to go the low road and become a lawyer.
Well, when did you know you was going to be okay? At what point in your life could you look in the mirror and say, you know what? I can do this thing called life. I can handle this.
It was later on. I'm not gonna say it was early. I think I had a good friend of mine, somebody I've already given a shout out to, Shane, who kind of told me. He said, I was kind of jumping from thing to thing to thing, and he said, what's that thing that you're good at and you don't even try? Like you try to do a lot of stuff,
Right.
but what is it that you're good at that you're not even trying, and
Right.
it seems like it always works out for you.
Right.
And I said, well, that would be my legal career. My legal career just always seemed to fall into place without
Really?
any effort.
Okay.
And he said, stay right there. Stay right there in that space because something is propelling you and surrounding you and causing good things to happen to you.
Right.
And when I really focused on my legal career, things just took off. And that's when I knew.
Wow.
That's when I
okay.
knew.
Okay.
That's when I knew.
What's your why, man? Why you get up and fight the good fight every day?
I fight the fight because I want to help those who are in domestic violence situations.
Okay.
That's my why. That's
Okay.
why I'm here. That's what I do. That's what I would do if I didn't get paid to do it.
Really, why? Why domestic violence? What about domestic violence really touches your soul?
When I was working as a public defender, I used to defend abusers.
Okay.
That was my job.
Right.
Didn't have any problems with it because I'm a public defender. I want to make sure everybody has the best defense they could possibly have.
Right.
But I knew that these, mostly men, were abusive.
Okay.
And I knew that they were going to continue to be abusive if I was successful at getting them out.
Right.
And I just didn't like that. Like that just didn't sit well with me that this cycle of abuse was going to continue. And so it kind of stuck with me. And I realized that the court system, even though I was in the court system, still in the court system, was not necessarily going to fix this problem.
Right.
And that's when I went out and started sort of getting on the front lines and trying to help those that are in those situations. And so it's been my life for probably the last 15 years. And that's my why. That's what I do.
Gotcha. Last question of the segment. Every brother can typically kind of point back to that moment. But what was that moment when you realized that you were a black man? Hold on for a second. Listen, this is The Journey, and we're going to be right back when Brother Kevin Reed is going to share with us when he realized he was a brother. Stay right there. This is The Journey on the Kazukian Network.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Success in life is not a straight line. There are twists and turns in everyone's life, and the more you know about their story, the more you'll understand the process. Kazuki Media Group proudly presents The Journey, a show that features successful black men in Memphis telling their stories of their lives and the ups and downs they've encountered on their ultimate road to success. We believe The Journey will encourage young men and help them see that life is a journey. Watch The Journey, hosted by me, Larry Robinson. Brought to you by the Kazuki Media Group in partnership with the Delta Boulé. Welcome back to the second half of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have Brother Kevin Reed, who before we left was going to share with us when he realized he was a brother. But before we go there, I got another question. Mm-hmm. What's your superpower, man? What's that one thing that you know you can do better than everybody else?
I don't know if I can do this better than everybody else.
Okay.
But for those that are in my inner circle, mm-hmm. What I try to do is encourage them to be the best version of themselves.
Okay.
And really try to pull away some of those layers of why they're doing things and why mm-hmm. things may not be working out the way they want it to work out.
Right.
And just kind of get to the real core mm-hmm. of who they are and what they do. Mm-hmm. and kind of give them that little nudge.
All right.
And I tend to do that pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You walking out in the middle of the court, you're getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. So every superhero has his theme music. What's Kevin Reed's theme music? What music is blasting as you walking out to receive this Lifetime Achievement Award?
Some 90s hip hop, some Eric B. and Rakim. I Ain't No Joke.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's playing. I can hear that right now.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go back now. We're gonna go back. When did you realize you was a black man?
So it happened very early when I got to MIT.
Oh.
Upon arriving, the administration gathered all of the African-American first-year students and essentially told us to stay out of Southie. Now, Southie is the Irish part of Boston. Mm-hmm. And they essentially was saying, you don't want to go into Southie as a black person.
Right.
And that was strange to me.
Okay.
Because usually people are trying to stay out of our neighborhoods.
Right.
And usually people are afraid of us.
Right.
And so for the first time, somebody was saying, these people might be mean towards you and you don't want to be in their neighborhoods. That was very strange to me. And I felt very black. Very black at that moment, yes. And you hear it now.
Right.
If you listen to some of the athletes of today,
right.
They will tell you, they don't like playing in Boston.
Right.
Because Boston is still very racist. At the time, it was extremely segregated. The blacks lived over here. The Irish lived over here.
Right.
And it's sort of that sort of segregated type of town.
Did you ever experience anything when you were in Boston?
Not personally.
Okay.
Not personally. But you just kind of had to be aware.
Okay.
Just aware of where you were.
I got you.
And when you're in college, the college campuses are sort of
right.
They're, I wouldn't say cut off, but
right.
You're in a sort of buffer zone
right.
when you're on the campuses.
Right.
And you're not really in the city getting in the mix.
Right.
So I was fine, but that was one of the first times I realized, you ain't in Memphis. You ain't in Memphis, brother.
Right. Wow. Okay, tell me about your childhood. I mean, because you got a little brother too. So, so when did the little brother come? You had sister, mom and dad.
Right.
Then you end up here with a little brother.
My brother Bob was born when I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if I was early or he was late, but I had some years on him.
Yeah.
And so we were very close.
Okay.
But our relationship blossomed after I came back to Memphis.
Okay.
So, he was a baby when I left.
Right.
And then I went to law school. So there's 7 years where when I come back to Memphis, he's a little kid now.
Right.
And that's when our relationship started to blossom. But he's a great guy, very artistic.
Okay.
Musically inclined, shoots video and works for a different ad agency.
Okay.
But still doing well.
All right. So your sister, tell me about your sister. What kind of relationship with her?
My sister is a wonderful person. She went to Middle Tennessee State.
Okay.
And so we're just very close.
Okay.
Like she took over the big sister role after I left.
Okay.
Doing really well. Both my siblings are just great.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did your mom give you?
My mom gave me passion.
Okay.
Like passion to achieve.
Really?
Yeah. Passion to achieve. She was the one that was always pushing me to be the best version of myself.
Okay.
Yeah. She was the one that was sort of putting certain opportunities in front of me, saying, you need to try to do this, you need to try to do this.
Your mom was quite of a trailblazer too.
She is a trailblazer. She is a trailblazer. Deborah Reed.
Yeah.
She's an alderwoman in Mumford now. First black female alderwoman in Mumford.
Oh wow.
But she's on the Democratic Party and National
She's always
Party.
been active.
Yeah,
man.
very active. And she's the one that gave me that push to always be looking for the next thing.
Now I saved the last, but certainly not the least, and that's your dad, because you went in business with your dad.
Yes.
Back in the day, y'all had like a burger joint.
We had a restaurant. Dad gave me my work ethic.
Okay.
He just grind.
Okay.
And not a type of person that complain a lot. Just put your head down and get it done.
Okay.
So the work ethic came from him. My moral compass came from him.
Okay.
And yeah, we were in business together. We had a lot of fun. Our business did not survive.
What was the day like when y'all had to make the decision to shut the doors?
It was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, it was terrible. The housing bubble burst.
Right.
And our burger business just, the money just started to dry up a little bit. The business stopped coming in.
Right.
And we got behind on a lot of bills.
Right.
And we just kind of said, if we don't shut it down, it's gonna take us down. Like the business will take the family down.
Right.
We didn't want that.
Right.
So yeah, it was difficult, man. That was my first business. We had it for 5 years.
Right.
Made some good money in the first couple of years.
Right.
And then the last couple of years we lost a lot of money. So we had to close the doors.
What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that not everything I put my hands on is going to be successful. And that was new. I had been successful pretty much up until that time.
Right.
So taking that L with that business was new for me.
Right.
And I realized that I had a lot of growing to do, a lot of learning to do. And just because I said, this is what I'm going to do, did not necessarily mean it was going to be successful.
Right.
And that was the lesson of that business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You had a young wife at that time, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did that, being a person who had been successful during that most of your life, how were you able to come home and tell this lady that had just said, I'm gonna do this life thing with you?
Right.
How did you handle telling her that you had failed?
Well, I married a partner.
Okay.
And so she was not on the outskirts of what was going on. This was not news for her. When the business started losing money, I was telling her.
So she might have started cheering when you said she was closing the door.
She was not at all surprised.
Okay.
We a partner.
Right.
So you tell your partner what's going on.
Right.
So she was in on all the major discussions, all the decisions, and she's a trooper. She's just like, we'll get the next one.
Right.
We were in financial tatters.
Right.
And I had to go to court because there was a lot of bills that hadn't been paid, and I didn't have the money to pay them.
Right.
And fight through that. But the marriage, I picked the good one.
Okay.
And we just hung in there.
So I want, for young people listening, the reason I went through the whole family process and then ended with your wife was because a lot of us don't know what that looks like. And what I want to ask you is, having your mother and father be together for so long, and I think they recently celebrated 50 years.
50 years of marriage, that's
50
right.
years of marriage.
Yeah.
What did you learn from your parents that allowed you to deal better with your wife?
I think like most marriages, those early days are rocky. And we used to toss around the word divorce a lot. But we finally just said, you know what, it's a decision. It's a decision. Once all the romance of just meeting and all that euphoria goes away, it comes down to a decision. Are you and this person going to stick it out and be partners and love each other and battle through? And we made the decision that we were not going to use that word, no matter what, no matter how intense it got. That word was not allowed in our marriage. And
so it's a commitment.
It's a commitment, and like I said, it's a choice. And so I learned that from my parents. My parents went through a lot. You can't be married 50 years and not go through everything.
Right.
And you have to ask them. But I assume that they went to the brink a couple of times and
they
came
were
back.
united front in front of you guys.
Right, in front of us.
Right.
A united front.
Okay.
Definitely. So, yeah, we just had to just say, look, we either gonna do this thing or we're not.
Right. Right. What has Memphis meant to you in your development as a person as well as a professional?
I love Memphis. I think that Memphis still has a ton of opportunity for everybody, not just black people, but everybody. There's just a ton of opportunity still here in this area. I think for me, what Memphis has been is a great place to raise a family.
Okay.
And I know that might sound strange.
Why? Why you say it might sound strange?
Because so many people are down on Memphis. So many people talk so negatively about Memphis, about the crime and about the school system and how slow it is. And, a lot of people get down on Memphis. I found it to be a great place to raise a family. Good churches. You can find some decent free schools. It might be tough, but you can find some decent free schools.
Right.
And the opportunity is there, but you got to fight for it.
Okay.
You got to fight for it.
Okay.
as a person that's lived in other cities, I can tell you that there are worse places, way worse places to be than Memphis, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
So I've loved Memphis for being a place to really raise my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You have 2 kids of your own.
Yes.
What has Memphis meant to you having your 2 kids raised in the same place you were raised?
They go to the same high school I went to. So it's great. They both Mustangs.
Okay.
And that's exciting.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay.
They're doing well. They're thriving. My son Kari is a senior at East, and my daughter Amara is in the 10th grade at East. And they tell me they like the school. So
Right.
yeah, I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay. Career.
I wear a couple of hats. My 9 to 5, I'm a judicial commissioner,
Right.
which is basically a state level magistrate.
Okay.
And
what is that? What does that mean? Unpack that.
a magistrate is the lowest level of judge there is.
Okay.
So I'm a judicial officer, but I'm on like the lowest rung.
Okay.
That's what a magistrate is. And here in Shelby County, we have 14 judicial commissioners, magistrates. We are the ones that set the bails when folks get arrested.
Okay.
We review all of the arrests to make sure that there's probable cause for folks to come into the jail. Mm-hmm. We hear orders of protection. So that's what I do. 9 to 5. I've been a magistrate for coming up on 14 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a senior magistrate.
Okay.
But I also have a nonprofit, Report DV 901, where we help domestic violence victims that are in lethal danger.
Okay.
And I spend quite a bit of time doing that as well. We have people that we are assisting right now as we
Right.
speak. So that's, and I enjoy doing that, as I said already.
Okay. All right. You're going back to Oakhaven.
Yes.
Go to the house that you used to live in. Open the door. You see young Kevin sitting there watching TV, eating a bowl of cereal. Mm-hmm. What words would you give young Kevin?
I'm gonna tell young Kevin not to chase money.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna tell young Kevin. I'm gonna tell young Kevin he's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be fine. He's gonna have a wonderful life, but don't chase money.
Okay. Why not chase money?
We live in a world where we're always talking about the bag.
Right.
Always talking about the bag, and depending on your choice of preacher, you might have a naming and claiming preacher. So you want to do what you would do for free.
Okay.
And then figure out how to turn that into the type of money you want.
Okay.
If you do that, you'll never work, and every day you'll jump straight up out the bed.
Okay.
Because you're doing what you love.
Right.
When you're chasing that money, when you're chasing that bag, you might end up in some situations where you don't actually like what you're doing every day.
Right.
And there's no amount of money that's worth that.
Right.
So that's what I would say. And I say that because I have chased the bag. Okay. And I want to say, look, I would say save yourself, a decade or two, and don't go that route.
Okay. Yeah. Now, last thing, and I want you to say it right in that camera. Leave the young folks with a readism, something that they can call back on this conversation and say, man, that's what I took from that conversation with Mr. Kevin Reed.
Larry, you touched on it right at the top of this of this interview. Faith is everything. Faith is everything, and you're not going to be able to see every step. My readism is just to have faith in yourself, have faith in what you're trying to do. Don't worry if you don't have all the answers. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going. So that's what I would say.
Fantastic. Listen,
All right.
I told you we were going to bring you another one. I'm Larry Robinson, and for our guest, Brother Kevin Reed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
We're going to keep bringing if you keep coming. So listen, this is Larry Robinson. This has been The Journey, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you to our partners, the Delta Boulay. To hear more incredible stories like this, be sure to download the Kadzukian app from the App Store or Google Play. Or check out The Journey Memphis podcast on all your major podcast providers. Also, check us out on the Kadzukian Network.